So in this video, I'm going to be answering questions from you, the community. And in this segment, I'll be going over my least favorite credit card that I ever had, the best Bank of America credit cards for travel perks, and my favorite US-based Marriott property that I've stayed in recently. With that being said, we have a lot to cover, so let's just jump right in. The next question comes from my buddy Joe Barretto. Hope you're still here in the chat, by the way, Joe. Hi, Stan. Which Bank of America card do you recommend for travel perks? I was told by Anthony, Venture's Discord crew, during my live that you were the one to ask. Please help. So yes, first of all, haven't checked Joe's channel, definitely check it out. He's got a lot of great information. He's one of the older guys, so he's got a lot of life experience and a lot of life knowledge. So if that's something you want to hear from, Joe's your guy. He's got a lot of great things going on his channel, both from credit cards and just for life in general. And just to answer the question, first of all, you don't get Bank of America credit cards for travel perks. It's kind of the first way to answer the question, because that's not what they're for, right? There are plenty of other cards that get you better travel perks that are on different issuers like American Express, Chase, Capital One, Citi. The reason why you get Bank of America credit cards is really for that preferred rewards boost you get on those everyday categories, on those catch-all categories, right? Having said that, Bank of America credit cards do have travel perks, and the ones that come to mind are going to be these ones right here. And so the ones that we have in mind are the Bank of America Premium Rewards, the Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite, as well as the Alaska Mileage credit card. And so let's go over these in turn. So the first two are Bank of America branded cards. And so you can see the Premium Rewards Elite, Premium Rewards card, has a $95 annual fee and has a $100 airline incidental, as well as a $100 TSA pre-check global entry credit. So you can actually get positive net value on this card the first year if you use a TSA credit. But if at anything, you can get positive value with just the incidental credit alone. Now, if you want a simple card, that's kind of what I recommend, because it has the same multipliers as the Premium Rewards Elite credit card, which has that $550 annual fee, but has those other credits we mentioned before, the $300 incidental credit, as well as the $100 TSA pre-check and global entry credit. It also has these really cool other perks you can use, which are the airfare redemption on the travel portal for 20% back, or 1.25 cents per point, as well as the Priority Pass Select membership that you get that accesses to restaurants. I think it's for authorized users, and each authorized user gets a Priority Pass membership. And so it's limited, and I think it's unlimited guests or 2 guests. I'm not sure. It's not clear exactly how many guests you get with that card, but it does cover restaurants and non-loungy type places. So definitely a powerful Priority Pass membership if you want to go down with that Bank of America card. The last card that actually is important is the Alaska card. That's a really powerful card. It's got a $95 annual fee, but it's got that $99 companion fare, which used to be really good. I think it's with tax and fees $122, but you have to spend $6,000 on the card now to get that, unless you got grandfathered in before the change. And so that is just a negative on that card in terms of the companion fare. If you spend on the card for that amount of money, $6,000 a year, is not like terrible. That's fine, but there's just that limitation there. If you do fly Alaska a lot, though, it is great because you get a free check bag for you and then 6 of the guests that you have on your itinerary too. So if you are doing like one Alaska trip, one round trip with a bunch of your family, you can save like a ton of money just with this one card. Like, you can imagine how many baggage fees will add up with all the people you're bringing with you on your trip. And so to have that ability is really awesome, because you can really make up that annual fee really like a lot, 2-3 times over, depending on how much you travel on Alaska Airlines. And of course, you get priority boarding. That's like one of my favorite things on these airline cards is priority boarding, because I like boarding early and securing that overhead space for my carry-on. That gives me a lot of peace of mind. So I really do appreciate that. So that's what I recommend for the Bank of America cards. I think the next question comes from my boy Cesar Joel, who's already here in the chat. Cesar, your worst credit card and why you got it. Keep up the great work, Stan. Okay, so I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I think it's important to talk about, because just because a card mathematically is a good card, is a keeper card, doesn't mean it's a good keeper card for you. And so the worst credit card I ever got was the Southwest Priority card from Southwest. And first of all, you're going to say, like, Stan, wait a minute. I thought you like fly on Southwest like a ton of times. And that is true. I do travel a lot with Southwest. But here's the reason why it was the worst card. So I got this card in 2020. And 6 months later, I got the Amex Platinum card. So that first 6 months before the Platinum card, it was a great card. I was spending my funds on the Southwest ticket, on this card, and so I was getting the 3x points back. But as soon as I got the Platinum card, I started getting 5x points back on flights. And I moved all of my Southwest spend to my Platinum card instead. And so that just left this card as kind of a useless card with a $140 annual fee. Now, it's not all bad because, like, we see in the bottom of the slide here, you do get some perks too. Like, you get this 2,500 points, sorry, 700 points for each card on anniversary, which are worth 1.3 cents per point. So it's even more than $75, in value. You get a $75 annual credit when you book Southwest purchases. So that's another value on top. And then on top of that, you get four upgraded boardings per year. At this point, it's about $30 per upgraded boarding. So that's $120 in value on top of the 75 plus the around 75. So you're getting like at least 100-ish plus more money on this card just by having the card. So it is definitely a keeper card. I'm not going to deny that. But in terms of my use case, I just didn't like having an annual fee card sitting around like doing nothing and then having to deal with all these credits on top of what I was dealing with the Platinum card. So to simplify my life, I got rid of this card. It was mathematically going to make sense, but the time I was investing in trying to get all these things done with the Southwest card was unnecessary, in my opinion. I was spending enough time on the Platinum card to like really make sure that I got enough value from that Platinum card first, right? And so that's why I decided to cancel that card. I've been fine with it. I think it's a great card for the companion pass situation. So we know about the priority plus like the business card. You can combine those two to get the companion pass. That's a great use for the card, if you want to keep it like for that year or so. But, I think it's a use case. So for example, if I didn't have a Platinum card, this would be a great card to have because clearly I fly Southwest a lot. I do a lot of things with Southwest. But, if you're getting 3x Southwest, like why not get like 3x on like, the Chase Sapphire Reserve? That's better because you could transfer the points over. It's transferable currency, so you can do that or something else if you want, Hyatt, for example. So a lot more flexibility with that too. So that's kind of the worst card I ever had. Cesar Joel kind of pops in here and says, thanks for answering my question. You're welcome, Cesar. Cesar is the man, by the way. I love that guy. Like, I wish I spoke Spanish so I could interact with him more on his channel. But I heard actually, from Think Media that they're in YouTube, they're starting to do this thing where they're going to be able to translate, like, there's like an AI thing that they're developing where they can translate English channels to different languages and vice versa. So there may be a point in time where I actually will be able to see Cesar's content in English. And so I'm really excited for that to happen. But in the meantime, he's got a lot of great, content. So definitely check him out, especially if you speak Spanish, because he's the man. I love that guy. He's so cool. All right. So next question here is from my buddy Joe Mano. Love that name, by the way, Joe Mano. Woohoo! Would love to hear about your top favorite Marriott branded property within the US. Love all the videos. Keep it pushing. So I don't spend a lot of time in luxury Marriott resorts. I do sometimes, but not a lot. So the breadth of how many properties I've seen is not very big. Mostly I stay in Courtyards and Fairfields, but I did have the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. last year. And I stayed at this property I just had a great time at that property. That property was the Gaylord Hotel in National Harbor in Maryland, which is really close to DC, by the way. And I put these pictures up here to kind of give you a size of a depth of what the hotel looks like. So on the left is the big atrium that faces the hotel, that faces out on the Potomac River. And you can see it's a beautiful view you get with wide open spaces, wide open atrium. In the foreground, you can kind of see, in the background, you can see like these little houses there that's inside. Those are mostly like bars and restaurants for the property. So it's a little cool, like real unique thing. And what's also cool about this property is that the balconies on the property look out over this area. So I actually booked like the lowest room possible. I think I was platinum at the time. No, I was platinum at the time. Yeah. So I actually was upgraded to a balcony view overlooking like the inside. And that was really my view in the morning. Was just I wake up, I would look outside, see the Potomac River, see the inside of the hotel. And it was just a great place to like sip my coffee, do some YouTube just in the mornings before what I was doing. And so I love that like experience. And not only is the hotel great too, but also it's a great location in National Harbor. So National Harbor is kind of a touristy place, got a nice shops, restaurants. It's got some touristy things like boat tours and stuff you can do. By the way, the left side of this is going to be the outside picture of the property too, this is a gorgeous property. And so, like I mentioned before, though, you could do those things in National Harbor, but also you're close to Washington, D.C. as well. And so, why that's important is because I was able to go to the Smithsonian museums and just look at just kind of go there and visit them. And of course, because I'm in the District of Columbia, I wanted to go see the the National Museum of American History. And so I really enjoyed that trip. I want to point this out because it was sort of relevant. On the left here, one of the exhibits showed a picture of a tax form, and I thought it was hilarious because this is a tax form from 1921. And I know it's kind of small to see, so I'll kind of like tell you about it. It's a 1921 tax form to the IRS. It's one page. There's like 5 deductions, right? And it's like income deductions, and then this is like what you have to pay in taxes. And basically, this guy from the Navy made, it looks like it was 2,000-ish dollars, and he paid $24 in tax. And so I just imagine myself paying $24 in tax. I'm sure the rest of you can relate to that. Is unbelievable. Like, and of course that was 1921 or something like that. So that was over 100 years ago. So I did the calculation, and basically $21 in tax in today's money is about $400. $21 in 1921 money is $450 in today's money. So still a very low amount of tax. And so I thought it was a very cool and unique thing. So that was in the finance section of the National Museum of American History. I also was able to see some of these cards. It was really, really cool. There was actually an exhibit on credit cards themselves, pretty like a small like little window that shows like how they used to look like in the past. So you can see American Express. There's a Bank of America card, the Master charge card, what they used to look like, as well as a Sears credit card. And basically, they kind of discuss what credit cards were, what they look like in the 1950s, 1960s, and 70s. And you see what a long way we've come since then. And just in case you were curious, this Bank of America card became Visa, which is why it looks like the colors of the Visa logo that used to be before they changed it to the Visa logo now. And so MasterCharge obviously is a MasterCard, and American Express is, as you know, American Express. And so I thought that was a really cool exhibit. Want to share that with you guys. But again, I love that property, that Gaylord property. And so if you ever go to the DC area, I highly recommend that. Again, it's from Marriott, but that was kind of what I was able to do.